So the Apostle Paul writing Romans 7 and then Romans 8, there is such a huge difference between the two. And welcome, good morning to this morning's Jolt. So let me just read a few verses, a few awesome, interesting, kind of too real to be pleasant verses. Romans 7:14 and 15. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that I do not. But what I hate, that do I. Told you it was going to be painful somewhat. Verse 19. For the good that I would, I do not. But the evil which I would not, that I do. Verse 21. I find in the law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. So the Apostle Paul in chapter 7 is talking about his tough, hard to accept personal experience that he desires to do the will of God. He wants to obey the commandment. He wants to do what God has called him to do, and then he sins, and he's like, it's kind of like a facepalm chapter. It's like, why do I do this? And then in the end, he realizes, I find a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. So like there is a different law in me. Like there's the law of God, but then in me is like a law of sin and death, and I just follow that law because that's closer to me. So he's struggling with this. But then Romans 8, it's like a different person writing actually. In Romans 7, I just made a quick count. I don't actually know the exact number, but something like 40 times he says, I and me. It's all about I, me, I, my. I didn't even count the my's, but I and me. Something like 40 times it's there. He keeps saying, I find this, that what I want to do, I do not do that, but what I don't want to that do, he just keeps talking about I and me, and he's so focused. And then comparatively in Romans 8, he still talks about himself somewhat, but it's like switched off, like compared to the 40 mentions of himself in chapter 7. It's almost like nothing. It feels like nothing in Romans 8. Instead, he says things like this, Romans 8:11. But if the spirit of him that raised up Jesus from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Christ from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwells in you. So it's like a very different chapter. And like what happened? What it's like a different person writing, but it is the same person writing. It is still Paul writing, but what happened there? And I just want to maybe give you that to meditate on, and if you don't know the answer, especially, maybe we come back to it tomorrow and we talk some more about it. But I just want to encourage you. Take Romans 7 through 8, 12, 13, 14, 8, 14. So Romans 7 through 8, 14. Read those verses and meditate. Do you struggle with your sin? Do you find yourself sinning as you shouldn't and you know you shouldn't? Take those verses and meditate, and the answer lies therein. So God bless your day. God bless your meditation with that.